All right, hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Sisel Wednesday night product call. So glad you joined me. This is Jackie Christiansen, your host, and I'm also a certified nutritionist, personal trainer, and just an all-around nutrition and fitness buff. So I love this product we're going to talk about tonight. It's called fucoidan. It's made from limu moi. We're going to talk about what it is, where it comes from, the properties that it has, which they just go on, and also the types of things that you may want to use or suggest to people why they might want to use this product. So let's go ahead and get started. So fucoidan is a product that Sisel International offers, actually makes and distributes. And the spelling is a little bit different. It's fucoidon, but there's also a plant. It's a sea vegetable called fucoidan, and it comes from limu moi. And fucoidan as a plant or as a sea vegetable is spelled fucoidan, and it's found off the island of Tonga, Japan, and also Hawaii. Now, the most potent, the best, the most concentrated limu moi is found off the coast of Tonga. Now, fucoidan is a component of limu moi. So limu moi, spelled Limumoui, if you want to Google it, it's a power-packed sea vegetable that's been eaten for thousands of years in these coastal areas I've mentioned. And because of the great nutritive value, these remarkable plants were used to regenerate and increase well-being in people in those areas. In many cases, science is supporting some of the traditional uses of limu moi, and there are new discoveries about limu moi. It seems like daily, just ongoing. You can actually go and Google limu moi or fucoidan, but you can also go to www.pubmed.gov. It's a National Institute of Health site where all medical scientific studies are published. And you'll find so many different studies, not only on just fucoidan, but how fucoidan relates to certain conditions, illnesses, and you'll see all sorts of health properties and really quite interesting. But those who regularly include this food in their diet enjoy sustained levels of health. So in this era of increased health concerns, often related to poor nutrition, it just makes sense to include this as part of your diet. So in Okinawa, Japan, limu is called mozuku, and there the seaweed is harvested from their own coastal waters. But to supply Japan's huge demand, Tongan limu is also valued. And that's what we use at Sisel. So the Japanese people have known the extraordinary therapeutic value of Tongan seaweed for hundreds of years, and they know that limu moi grows abundantly in Tonga's perfect climate in some of the most pristine waters in the world. Quick story, just so you know, Tom Maurer, the president and founder of Sisel, actually heard about the most pristine, wonderful limu moi that was found in Tonga. He went to Tonga and he met with the king. He met with the king of Tonga and arranged to purchase all of the seaweed, all the fucoidan limu moi that they had there, and then had it shipped back. So I forgot how many tons he has, but brought it back to the States and brought it back to Sisel International, and he wanted to perfect the processing of it and make it just so intensified and so efficacious and nutrient-rich that he actually came up with his own process. So there are 2 patents on this process, I understand, and that contributes to the potency and just the efficacy of our fucoidan. I need to verify this, but I hear that our fucoidan is 8 to 9 times the normal strength of any other fucoidan product out there. So it's not a couple times better. It is tremendously better. and there's patents on the process, and there's patents on the actual ingredient blend as well. So investigation has shown that limu moi contains significant concentrations of the active component fucoidan, and fucoidan is a complex polysaccharide, which is a natural sugar with all sorts of health properties, and it's the subject of over 900 scientific studies listed in that PubMed database I mentioned. So these studies reveal the amazing regenerative properties of fucoidan that affect nearly every system of the body. Fucoidan research is catching worldwide attention, and articles on fucoidan's miraculous benefits are appearing in authoritative medical journals. So science sees promise for fucoidan as a powerful support to the immune system. Fucoidan also enhances normal cell growth and division, and reports indicate that fucoidan supports normal liver and circulatory function. Also, seaweed experts believe that having a daily dose of seaweed sustains healthy body functions. And people who eat fucoidan-rich limu moi on a regular basis, or in our case, drink the limu moi, fucoidan from limu moi, report sustained energy and feel support to that digestive system, and also as an aid to help support normal pancreatic function. So I'm just going to go down the list here and talk about fucoidan health benefits. All right. So fucoidan is believed to be nature's most diverse and effective cell signaler. Before I go into the details, let me just say that fucoidan has 3 different areas where it's very, very strong. One, it's a cell signaler. 2, and in turn, helps to regenerate cells in the body, so cell regeneration. Also, immune system. It's an immune system enhancer. And number 3, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. Okay, so these 3 things I just mentioned to you are the things that you need to know when you share fucoidan information with a potential customer or potential distributor. Just those 3 things. You don't need to get into all this detail. It'll overwhelm them. They'll think they have to know it all. 3 things. I always give people bullet points. I just give them the highlights. So, again, it's a cell regenerator. It's an immune system enhancer. And it's a natural anti-inflammatory. So I'll come back to those 3 things and let you know how that applies to people that you're talking to that have one condition or one ailment, or how you might recommend it. Okay. So the cell signaler, it has enormous power and energy in supporting significant and forceful effects on stem cells, organs, tissues, and many biological structures and systems within the body. Fucoidan has amazing health benefits, and it contains all 8 essential saccharides for cellular communication. It has mannose. In fact, the Chinese people say that fucoidan is like mother's milk. In fact, that's its nickname in China, mother's milk. It has all the ingredients of natural mother's milk that we know. So it has mannose. Mannose is a type of saccharide. It prevents viral, bacterial, parasitic, and fungal infections. It eases inflammation and rheumatoid arthritis. Lupus patients are deficient in this saccharide, so it only makes sense that if they're deficient in it, they need more, and mannose is contained in fucoidan. It lowers blood sugar and triglyceride levels in diabetic patients. It also contains something called fucose, F-U-C-O-S-E. It increases growth factors IGF-1 and IGF-2, identical to those found abundant in breast milk. Now, IGF-1 and 2 are growth factors. Okay, it also influences brain development and ability to create long-term memories. It induces the production of immune factors called interferon and interleukin in immunocytes, really important to the immune system. It regulates the immunomodulating activity at a cellular level. It activates stem cells. It creates hormonal, anti-aging, longevity factors. Can you see this as kind of a support to TSX and resveratrol, our Eternity product? It inhibits tumor growth through apoptosis. Apoptosis means cell death, and we'll get more into that later because it is very, very exciting, and I have particular studies I'll share with you at the end of the call. Metabolism of the saccharide called fucose is abnormal in cystic fibrosis, diabetes, cancer, and shingles. Again, so it makes sense to supplement with the fucoidan that contains this fucose. It's active against herpes viruses, including herpes 1 and the cytomegalovirus. And the cytomegalovirus is something that is found, I can't remember if it's 70% or 80% of all elderly people. Very dangerous virus that can remain dormant or that can be activated. It also guards against respiratory infections. And with regards to allergy, it inhibits allergic reactions by inhibiting IgE. It also increases growth factors for muscle rebuilding. It stimulates bone growth and repair. It creates growth factors for skin, hair, and lining of the internal organs. If you're not impressed yet, let me start over. Pretty incredible, isn't it? It acts directly with anti-inflammatory inhibitors. And it repigments graying hair. And you'll also see a potent energy metabolism increase. And it has a naturally high ORAC value, which protects eyes and major organs. The next saccharide that it contains is called galactose. And galactose is very important in wound healing. It enhances wound healing. It increases calcium absorption. It triggers long-term memory formation. It has glucose, which is a potent fast energy source. It enhances memory. It stimulates calcium absorption. And elderly Alzheimer's patients register lower levels of this saccharide than those with organic brain disease from stroke or other vascular diseases. Again, that means that fucoidan that contains galactose would be good for Alzheimer's patients. Glucose metabolism is disturbed in depression, manic depression, anorexia, and bulimia. So this would be good for people that suffer with that condition. Also, it has, be patient with me here, this is a long one, N-acetylgalactosamine. N-acetylgalactosamine. Heart disease patients have lower than normal levels of this saccharide. It also inhibits the spread of tumors. It's an immune modulator with anti-tumor properties and activity against HIV and it has N-acetylglucosamine, which is vital to learning. Now, let me just remind you, I'm covering a lot of information here. I'm not citing the studies. There are just too many. But, again, there's over 900 different studies at pubmed.gov that you could go and pull up the individual studies. You could put in fucoidan and Alzheimer's. You could put in fucoidan and tumors, and the corresponding studies will come up for you. All right, it also has a saccharide called glucosamine. Actually, the glucosamine is a metabolic byproduct of the acetylglucosamine, and it helps repair cartilage. It also decreases pain and inflammation. So you probably recognize that name because it's in a lot of joint formulas. It also increases the range of motion. It repairs mucosal lining, which is a defensive barrier implicated in Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and interstitial cystitis. It also has N-acetylurominic acid, which is important for brain development and learning. It repels bacteria, repels viruses, and other pathogens. It's also abundant in breast milk. It also has something called xylose, X-Y-L-O-S-E, antibacterial and antifungal properties. It may prevent cancer of the digestive tract. Fucoidan also protects against radiation damage. HIV virus protection is offered. Also acts as an anticoagulant or blood thinner. So this is the only property that it has that I know of, that I have found, where it may have some sort of drug interaction. So if you know someone who is considering this, or if it's yourself, be careful about the anticoagulant properties. So that is an overview of the properties of fucoidan, which comes from limu. Just so many things it can help with. And before I get into the specific cases of cancer patients, I just want to tell you two stories. Aaron Renner, the Vice President of International Expansion for Sisel International, as you probably know, is a professional bike racer, has a team of over 200 people, who's ranked number one in the state in his age category, and also number 5 in the U.S. a few years back. Now he's devoting so much time to Sisel, he's not doing a whole lot of racing. But just so you know, that's the caliber of his athleticism. Now, he was hit by a van while riding his bike, and the van broadsided him at an intersection, T-boned him rather, and the woman in the van had 5 kids in the van with her. So Aaron gets knocked off his bike, but before that happens, his sunglasses, he's wearing a helmet and glasses, actually cut into his face. He hit the front of the van with his mouth and nose. So as you can imagine, he was quite cut up and bleeding. He ended up getting stitches, over 65 stitches. The doctor stopped counting at 65. But there was a gaping hole from his lip, the center of his lip, actually halfway, 3/4 across, and a diagonal line, if you can imagine, his upper lip crossed his nose and stopped just a centimeter or so away from his eye. So quite a deep cut, or the lip was actually split. Quite an impact. And what he did was went to the hospital and got all sewn up and was very, very swollen. And if you look inside your distributor marketing book, there's a couple of videos in the back pocket of that binder, and one of them is actually a video, and you can actually see the photos of Aaron and his before and afters. Let me just tell you the name of that. There's two in there. I actually gave it away last week, but it's not the one that says why buy Sisel products. It's the other one. I think it's Sisel Opportunity. And midway through that video, you'll see pictures of Aaron. He tells his story. But here's the interesting thing. 6 days after the impact, 6 days after the surgery, the doctor sewed him all back up. He went back for his checkup, and the doctor had to ask, so what did I do to you again? And he said, well, you sewed up my face. And he said, okay, would you mind telling me exactly where I did that? There was no evidence. There was no scar. There was nothing at all. And Aaron said he had been just guzzling the fucoidan. He kept it by his bed. And he would just kind of take swigs of it all day long. I think he said he had probably a total of 4 ounces a day. He used it like a medicine. He used it like a drug. He used it as a prescription. And he knew all the cell-regenerating properties and all the wound-healing properties that the fucoidan has. And it enabled him to heal in just an incredibly short amount of time without leaving a scar. So that's Aaron's story. My own story is that I have an autoimmune disorder, and I also have osteoarthritis, stage 2 disc disease. It's in my back and my neck, and it gets really bad in my elbow, my right elbow, my right wrist, my left shoulder, my left hip when it's at its worst. And I had a lag time of being on these wonderful products because I was in between companies. And so everything started to hurt again, and my migraines came back too. So I was in terrible shape, not feeling good, feeling sick again because of the autoimmune, and everything ached. And Dana and I just hoped and prayed that these Sisel products were going to work because my quality of life just drops if I'm not feeling good, obviously. So after just over 2 months, all the ailments went away. And the right elbow, the wrist, the shoulder, the hip, everything, the autoimmune, got my strength back, everything was back. And I didn't know which product it was. I'm on all 3, Triangle of Life and TSX also, but I knew it was one of the 3. Well, we have older kids, and they started drinking the products too, and I ran out before my auto ship came, and I was without the fucoidan for maybe even 5 days, but 4 is the trigger. And I started getting sick, and I could tell my autoimmune had a flare-up. My right elbow was killing me. I couldn't do a push-up. I couldn't do pull-downs with the bar. I couldn't put any pressure in my hand. I mean, it was bad. The nerves in my foot were hurting. I felt like an old lady, like a 100-year-old lady. And I just had a feeling with fucoidan. So if fucoidan comes, take it a couple times. Within the 24 hours, the next day I'm fine. Nothing hurts. It happened one more time. I started to get sick. Again, the fucoidan came, and within 24 hours, all pain gone. So I know the fucoidan keeps me well, just incredible properties. So I want you to share these stories. Don't make any promises. Don't make any claims to people. Just let them know what we have and what might be able to help. And then, of course, you can tell your own story, too. But before I wrap up the call, let me just tell you that there has been, this is really important, guys, there have been studies on cancer patients, and there's actually a book written by a Japanese doctor who's in Japan on fucoidan and the amazing power that fucoidan has with regard to cancer healing powers. And this isn't me talking, I'm just citing the book for you, okay? And the name of the doctor is Dr. Tachikawa. So T-A, T as in Tom, A-C-H-I-K-A-W-A. And his first name is Daisuke, something like that, D-A-I-S-U-K-E. So, so, Dr. Daisuke Tachikawa, and the name of his book is The Amazing Power of FuCoyDon, spelled FuCoiDon. So this book actually explains how FuCoyDon actually works to cure cancer. He says, to simply put it, FuCoyDon not only enhances the patient's natural healing power, but also promotes apoptosis of cancer cells. Remember, that's cell cancer death. This is indeed its most remarkable function. In other words, FuCoyDon does not attack cancer cells directly, but it causes them to surrender. Of course, FuCoyDon does not promote apoptosis in normal cells. It only works this way on cancer cells. Therefore, FuCoyDon produces no side effects. Unlike anti-cancer drugs, though the patient suffers no additional damage or discomfort, according to Dr. Tachikawa. So I urge you to look at the book. I'm going to order it myself. I haven't read it yet, but I do keep it as a reference because I'll run into people that have prostate cancer or they're dealing with breast cancer or stuff like that. All we can do is recommend. They have to have it approved by their doctor, of course, because most patients are on a very strict regimen of treatment. Most times, they're told not to be on any supplement. So it's controversial in that way, not in what it can do, but just be aware. So there are actually case files, 32 cancer case files, and it ranges from, I'll just name the different cancers, okay? Lung cancer, bronchial cancer, terminal lung cancer, bronchial cancer, stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, large intestinal cancer. Case 5 is stomach cancer. Amazing recovery in just 2 weeks, waiting for a hospital bed. Completely cured of cancer by outpatient treatment alone without suffering side effects from anti-cancer drugs. Case number 6, terminal stomach cancer. Case 7, stomach cancer. Case 8, stomach cancer. Case 9, esophageal cancer. Again, there's another stomach cancer. Another esophageal cancer. Colorectal cancer. 10-year battle with cancer. FuCoyDon drove me to the ultimate victory. Colorectal cancer. Rectal cancer. Liver cancer. Pancreatic cancer. Kidney cancer. Gallbladder cancer. Liver, hepatitis C, liver, pancreatic, kidney, gallbladder, uterine, ovarian, breast cancer, surgery unnecessary, uterine, ovarian, prostate, pharyngeal, urinary bladder cancer, testicular, again, prostate, pelvic lymph nodes, pharyngeal, laryngeal, pharynx cancer, bladder cancer, testicular, skin cancer, thyroid, malignant lymphoma, leukemia, brain tumor. Case 26, skin cancer, melanoma. It spread throughout the body. Success came after quitting chemo to focus solely on FuCoyDon. Case 27, thyroid. 28, lymphoma. Case 29, leukemia. Lung cancer, prolific to brain, feeding brain tumor metastasizing from lung cancer, cured inoperable neoplasmas. 31, hypertension, lowering chronic hypertension. 32, liver disease. So these are all case studies that I've mentioned that he cites in his books and details at length. So I've had people ask me, well, do you know how much they were taking? Do you know what kind? Were they taking hours? I don't think they were taking hours. This was in Japan. I don't know any of the details. I'm going to buy the book, probably like many of you are. But that wraps it up for the call. I've given you a lot of information. As you can see, FuCoyDon has amazing, powerful health benefits. You should be on this yourself if you're not already. Tell people about this product. Share the information. I'm going to record this. I'm recording this. I'm going to post this later on the back office